never wait for the perfect moment because you know what? There is never going to be the perfect moment for anything. There's always something that's going to be going on while you're trying to pursue whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Creative Struggles. Do you guys love my jacket? I got it from the Goodwill. Listen, side note, before we get into the episode, I remember when I was younger and I would go to Goodwill and I would be so like, I would never shop here. Like, why are we here? Like, this is not. As I've gotten older, the Goodwill actually has really nice things. No one's going to be walking around with this jacket if you're watching the video. And if you're not watching the video, listen and then go watch. Just know that it is okay to shop at thrift stores. Goodwill, thrifting is really nice because you get quality jackets like this. Now, on to the episode. Everyone talks about chasing your dream and how great it is, but no one really talks about how terrifying it really is. Sometimes you have to pack up the fear with all of your things and move away. Welcome to Creative Struggles again. And today we're going to be talking about taking that leap and moving to a new state that is on the other side of the country. Right here, hand raised. Starting over even when your fear is your only passenger. But before we get into that, you guys know the deal and the routine by now. This week, the crime report is submissions. Yeah, it's been a little dry this week, so that's what we got. Again, struggling here, hand raised again. Now, the question for today is, do you have to move to a new state to fulfill your dream? Well, let's look at it this way. Let's use me as an example. I am from Wisconsin, Milwaukee to be specific, and there are not a lot of acting opportunities or even modeling opportunities. So that does not leave me with much of anything as far as job opportunities go. So I wanted to move to a state where that was provided and there were a lot more opportunities for me. So I could have moved to Atlanta, I could have moved to New York, but I chose California, Los Angeles. And yes, that's what I wanted to do personally. I could have chose other places, but this is where I am now. I would say just do your research because that will tell you everything that you need to know. Now, story time. So you know how I have a story for everything? Let's get into it. Since this episode is about moving, I'm going to tell you two different stories. The first one, how I originally was going to move to Arizona to be closer to LA. I know, it sounds very silly, but hear me out because I thought it was a wonderful idea. Now, back in 2018, I went to Arizona, Phoenix, to be specific. I went to Phoenix to celebrate my birthday. And when I was there, I was like, I kind of like it out here. It's nice. There's no snow. It's warm. It's actually a little too warm, but we'll get into that later. And I'm like, I could live here and I will only be 6 hours away from LA and I could commute by car, plane, bus, train. So I was just thinking of in that way. Also, Arizona's cheaper than LA. So that was the original thought process behind that. I'm like, well, it's cheaper to move there. So I could do that. And then once I get on my feet, accumulate a little more money, then I can move to LA. I had this whole thing planned out. So went there to celebrate my birthday. A couple months later, I went back there again and I had a whole apartment lined up. A couple of job interviews that I went to, got hired for one of the jobs, and I started packing my belongings. My room was packed up. 2 weeks before me actually going to be moving to Arizona, I get a call from the job that I just got. Now, they didn't tell me how much I was going to be making. However, I assumed it was going to be what I requested because they acted as though what I requested was fine. So I just went along with that. Now, I get the call from the job and they're like, we just want to congratulate you again on the job. And this is the amount that you're going to be offered. I almost hung the phone up because the amount that they were offering me was literally less than what I was getting paid in Wisconsin. How am I going to survive on less than what I'm being paid already? Make it make sense. So in that moment, as I was on the phone, I said, that can't be right. I that's not enough money. And I thought I said that in my head, but I actually said that to the hiring manager or HR person. Not really sure which one it was, but either way, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't take the job. That's not enough money. I'm moving from Wisconsin to Arizona and that's all I'm being paid. I'm not going to be able to accept the job. And again, like in my last couple episodes, there's always this rush that comes over my body. Because in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I just told everybody that I'm moving to Arizona. I was supposed to be moving within like 2 weeks. My stuff is all packed up. I am going to feel like a failure. People are going to think that I'm lying. People are going to look at me as those people that say that they're going to move somewhere and 5 years later, they still in the same spot that they are in, respectfully. Nothing wrong with that. But me personally, I don't like saying things and I don't back it up. So I was like, dang, now everybody's going to think that I was just talking out the side of my tail whole time. I actually was moving, but the job just fell through with the pay. I just couldn't do it. So I cried probably that entire day because when I tell you I had everything set up, the apartment, I put a deposit down on the apartment. I never got the deposit back. I was ready to go. I was set. It was the job. It was the pay. The pay was horrendous. I couldn't do it. After that, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign. Maybe I should be moving to LA and not Arizona. I gave myself a year. I didn't talk about moving to LA. I didn't bring it up. Kept my head down. I said, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to show with my actions. So this time around, similar stuff, but a little different. I went to California about 4 times before actually moving here. The first time was more leisurely. Second time, I was looking at apartments. Third time, I came down here for job interviews. The fourth time, I came back again just to see how I was going to feel about actually living here. I had got a part-time job. It wasn't full-time, but it was part-time and it was similar to the field that I was working in Wisconsin. I just need to find a full-time to, accumulate more income because now I have rent. California rent at that. And we all know how much that is. And this was 2019, so it honestly wasn't that bad. Thinking now to then, piece of cake. Now, I had a coworker that I worked with in Wisconsin that had a friend here in LA, and they were in security. Now, before I graduated college, I was doing security, and it wasn't bad, but it was more so of, I don't want to do this type of thing. I'm only doing it as a little job to get some change to get through college. That's pretty much what that job was. And I was just thinking, like, I don't want to do security again. I don't want to wear a uniform. That's not what I want to do. And then I also was thinking, like, well, you're already moving here. And if it's a full-time opportunity, then just take it and do it for a couple of months and apply for something else and find something else to do full-time. So I'm like, fine, I'll just go with it. I'll do the security thing. So 2 jobs now. And I was going to get my car shipped here. I had a Dodge Avenger Baby Blue. I called her Blue. Me and Bluey. I don't have Bluey anymore. She got me through a lot. But yeah, I was going to get Bluey shipped. And that was going to be a little over $2,000. Mind you, my savings was depleting because what I wanted to do was before I actually moved here, I wanted to be out of debt. My big ticket bill was my car note. I paid that off completely because I'm like, you know what? I would rather have my car note paid off than come here and have to pay a car note. So paid that off. Savings depleting, right? Shipping a car, $2,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. It was either, well, I can pay that and pretty much have less savings, or I can drive from Wisconsin to California. Yeah, no one just has thousands of dollars just laying around. So I had to drive myself. No one wanted to participate in the driving because no one thought I was moving here officially. People thought I was talking out the side of my tail. So no one really paid attention to the fact that I said, I'm moving to LA in June. You're not moving. How are you going to get there? You're driving that 2013 Dodge Avenger all the way to California? That's a winter car. You're going to drive to a state that has no snow? That car's not going to get you there. It's not going to last you. That Dodge lasted me up until last year, August 2024. I had Bluey since 2016, and she had over 160,000 miles. That car got me here safely. It got me to auditions. It got me to and from work. It got me everywhere with no problems. Up until the last couple of years that I had been here, but she was doing well. So yeah, I packed up Bluey and I got on the road and drove here. I couldn't believe I was doing what I was doing. And I was told not to stop in Nebraska. If you can catch my drift, catch it. But I was told not to stop there. And I remember driving through Nebraska because I had to drive through the whole state to get here. There was a sign that said, there's not going to be a gas station for 30 miles. And what I was doing was every time I got to half tank, I would stop and get gas because I never wanted to go below that. I was teetering with the halfway mark and it was, getting a little below. And on Dodge Avenger 2013 doesn't tell you how many miles you have until you are officially empty. So I couldn't gauge it. And I was like, well, Lord, I actually am going to have to stop in Nebraska. Like I have no other option. So there was one gas station before the 30-mile mark. I had to drive 10 minutes away from the highway. And if you have ever seen the movie Hills Have Eyes, picture that setting. Pull up to the gas station. There's no one around, but there are cars. I kid you not. There's a tumbleweed that blows by. I'm looking around. It's like a faint silence. I can't go into this gas station. I really hope that it takes my part outside because if I go into this gas station, I probably won't be coming out. And it takes my card and I'm just looking around, being very observant. And I happen to look up at the door of the gas station and it's this man with a white beater t-shirt on. That's supposed to be white, but it was so dirty and disgusting. It was brown. And I remember him smiling and taking a bite out of an apple, and he had no teeth. I kid you not. I was just like, please, gas, hurry up and get in this car. Because if I look down and look back up and he's gone, and now he's behind me, I'm really going to be done. So he walks away from the door. I smile back, hurry up and fill the gas up, and I drive off. That was probably the most scariest incident that I had on my way here. And then the second incident was when you're driving in Colorado, you need to learn not to lay on the brakes because there's a lot of hilly action. And if you lay on your brakes, you're going to fly forward because you're going to lose your brakes. So I had to learn that as I'm driving. I was so scared because I'm like, okay, don't lay on the brakes. Ease off a little bit, ease off. And there were cars stuck on the side of the road. It's so narrow. The mountains are so close to the highway. And I'm like, Lord, please just get me through Colorado because this is very scary for me. There were semi trucks veering off the road because they lost their brakes. It was a time. It was a trip, literally. Trip. And I didn't take any pictures because I wanted to take in the moment. I didn't really want to take pictures, but in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, wow, I probably should have took some pictures, but I'm just left with memories, which is fine because I feel like we don't always have to pull our phone out and take a picture and a video because we're actually missing the moment. So I just wanted to be in the moment with that. And yeah, it took me a total of 30 hours to get here. I didn't drive the whole 30. I'm not that beside myself. I drove 15 straight, obviously stopping for the restroom, gas, but drove 15 and then I stopped in Colorado, slept, and then I drove the rest of the 15. And it was just so funny because I was driving through Nevada and hit California. It just seemed like it took so long to get to Los Angeles specifically. I'm like, wow, like this is taking forever. I'm here, but I'm not here. So yeah, got here and everything was cool. That was an eye-opening experience because I went through a lot of emotions, excited, sad, doubt. A lot of things was going through my head. I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing it. Like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So that was very big for me because I feel like I'm known for taking a lot of risks, but that was a risk, or rather, this was a risk that it was just very scary. And the reality of the move is I had no friends here, no family, unexpected lessons, scams, anxiety, just all the things that I had to deal with in my own time. The first 2 years of me being here, I had friends. However, they moved back to wherever they were from. So I was left with no actual friends. And then you also got to think about COVID happening 7, 8 months after I got here. I gained a friend every year that I'd been here, minus the first 2 years. But yeah, that's my little spiel of those two stories. Yeah. Moving on to a win is a win. Even though I went through a lot, that would cause most people to just say, you know what? I give up. I'm not doing this. This is doing too much. It's very overwhelming. I didn't give up. I'm still here. And that is what keeps me going to this day. There are a lot of people that get here couple of months, a year or two, and they moved back home. I just didn't want to be one of those people. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, because if you got to move back home, then you got to move back home. But I just didn't want to do that, because if I did that, I would feel like I'm giving up on myself and my dream. And those are two things that I don't want to do. So I'm happy to still be here, still pushing forward. And hey, you never know. In a couple of years, I may be on to the next state and just be bi-coastal, because definitely love LA. The pricing is pricey, as we all can agree. But what do you expect? It's California. Everybody wants to be here. That's why it's pricey. Lessons learned. Never wait for the perfect moment, because you know what? There is never going to be the perfect moment for anything. There's always something that's going to be going on while you're trying to pursue whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. There's always something going on, but you're just going to have to push forward and move through it. Because if you're waiting for that perfect moment, let me tell you, it's not going to happen. And I can attest that a lot of times, I want things to be perfect. I'm very particular with a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, things aren't always perfect. So you just got to deal with it. Move with courage. Believe that you can do it. You got it. Do it. That's all you need. As long as you believe in you, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or thinking. As long as you believe in what you are doing and what you stand for and what you value, your goal. Trust your gut. Be patient. Because let me tell you, it wasn't meant for me to move to Arizona. It just wasn't. I was trying to force it, and it wasn't going to work. And I felt it in my gut that I'm like, maybe Arizona is not the right place. And this was well before the job situation. And I just ignored it because I'm like, well, I already have my mind set up. I'm going. And joke's on me, because I didn't end up going. I ended up moving to the place that I actually needed to be in to flourish. So trust your gut. Be patient. And being patient is very hard, especially when you want things to happen right then and there. Moving here, I have been more patient, because I have not always been a patient person. I would want things to happen right then and there, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, that is not how life works. You have to be patient. Patience is key, because when you rush into things, they don't end well. If you would have waited just a little bit longer, things could have aligned a little bit better. It may not be perfect, but it would be what is for you. And that's how I look at a lot of things. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities that, I submit for, and it's like, oh, dang, how did they get it? How did they do that? It's because it was their time. It was their moment. My time is coming. I'm just being patient, because what's for them is for them, and what's for me is for me. And with that in mind, still pursuing what I need to do. Because not only do you have to think it, you have to do it as well. So do what you need to do to get you to where you want to get to. So again, thanks for tuning in to Creative Struggles. And remember, fear does not go away. It just changes form. The trick is to learn to travel with it. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, send an email, all of the things. Subscribe on all platforms, please. Thank you. And I will see you next time, next week. And we'll talk about something new. We'll actually be talking about the dream unpacked. We'll get more into that. See you later.